Hey everybody, this is Don again. It's time for episode 18 of Practical Reality. Been a couple of weeks since I made a video. I guess I have to apologize to my minute audience at this point in time. I've been busy, and actually some of the ideas for videos sort of dried up in my mind as a result of being busy. I didn't really have time to be creative about it, but then in the last couple of days, I had a bunch of ideas. And this video is actually going to be part 1 of 2. And the theme we're going to explore today is, what did you expect of yourself? And here we are back in Donaldson Park in beautiful Highland Park, New Jersey. I'm sitting right on the banks here of the Raritan River. The river is kind of dry, kind of low, I should say. And I'm hoping that we get some rain around here and, fill it back up again. We certainly can use it. It's about 50 degrees. There's definitely a breeze always in this park, especially during this time of year. And I'm not too cold. It's not bad. I'm sitting here in my chair. I know I normally walk for these videos, but I was at the gym this morning, did like 45 minutes of leg work. Really good, actually. Did some very good work this morning. So I'm giving myself a break, just hanging out, sitting here, instead of walking around. So as I said, the theme of today's video is, what should you expect of yourself? And I think the main first point that I want to make here is, you need to be gentle with yourself. And that is so important, because what does the world throw at you every single day? A load of stress, a load of negativity that's incredibly difficult to deal with. So the first thing that you have to do, the first discipline that you have to sort of impose upon yourself is to be gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself. That is so important. Forgiving yourself has to become sort of a habit. And so does getting started. Getting started on anything has to become a habit, because procrastination is really a time killer and really can take away from any objective that you want to achieve. The longer you tell yourself you can start tomorrow, you can do this, you can do that, the longer you put it off, which is the ego telling you that everything's okay and you don't need to do anything anyway, the longer you put it off, the worse things get. And the worse that incessant torrent of thoughts that flows through your mind every single day keeps you in control, keeps you out of control of your life. It controls you. And that is, again, as I have said in prior videos, that is the external environment controlling you, your mind, which is the internal environment. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a review here. When I refer to that torrent of thoughts that flows through your mind every single day, I'm referencing the fact that it's a well-known fact that you have somewhere between 30 and 70,000 thoughts a day. How many of those thoughts are you conscious of? Not that many. The percentage is actually small. But what is the substance of those thoughts? That's the most important thing to realize. The substance of those thoughts is very often negative, because you are bombarded with a flood of negativity every single day. And then your mind is running on a subconscious program where the negative thoughts are really in control because you are not aware of them. It's like a software program running in the background of your mind that controls you, and you're not aware of it. And the first step in making any sort of change in your life is to recognize that torrent of thoughts for what it is, and then creating the space in your mind to be able to slow that down, and then you become the one who controls your internal environment instead of the external environment acting upon you. Remember that the status quo is what the ego holds on to, and the status quo usually is that negative torrent of thoughts. So what happens? You lose control of that torrent of thoughts, and something happens that brings upon some sort of stress. Could be anything. You could face 40 different stressful situations a single day. Anything. And what happens as a result? You go into a reactive state, and that negative stream of thoughts overwhelms you and immediately limits your choices and your potentials and your possibilities. And then the next thing you know, the day is over and you're weighed down by that negative stream of thoughts, and you say to yourself, I can't deal with this. I'm going to start tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to make some progress. Maybe you reach out to confide in a friend of yours and they tell you, it's okay, just deal with it. Well, that friend is not your friend. Anybody who tells you to just deal with it is not helping you, okay? They are not helping you accomplish your objective. So ignore that kind of advice. The choice is yours, okay? You have to make the choice to start. Any good habit requires a starting point. So let's go back for a minute to return to the subject of what I mean by being easy with yourself, forgiving yourself, giving yourself a break. This is not going to be easy. Nothing that's worth it in life is ever easy. However, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says in his videos, the act of creation should be a blissful, free, loose, beautiful sort of process. So if you're going to take this journey to become the controller of the external environment instead of being manipulated by your external environment, then the choice has to be to make it a blissful, beautiful, loose, free, ecstatic process. And that means going easy on yourself, forgiving yourself, saying it's okay, knowing, first of all, that you are on the path, and then knowing that when you get off the path, you're not going to let that immediate reactive negative stream of thoughts overwhelm you and say, this is a stupid idea. I can't do this. This is dumb. I'm just going to give up. That is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to say, okay, that's okay. Recognize it for what it is. Create the space in your mind and say, okay, I'm all right. This is a little problem. This is a little stumbling block, but I'm on this road. I have made the choice. It's like being in AA, as I've said in other videos. The first step is the recognition of the problem. You recognize the negative stream or the torrent of thoughts in your mind as the problem. And then as you deal with it on a daily basis, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have stumbling blocks, but you're going to forgive yourself and be gentle. And that's the way in the beginning to make it that free, loose, beautiful, ecstatic process. I hate talking in cliches, I really do. But the classic cliche here, it's a marathon, not a sprint, definitely applies here. You cannot measure your progress in minutes or days. You measure your progress in weeks. You measure your progress in months. You say to yourself, okay, here I am today, and where am I going to be? And as each day passes and you look at yourself and you say, okay, what progress did I make today? And if you can say to yourself anything that like 1% better a day, then you're on the way. You should not expect yourself. It's like working out at the gym. If you can bench 100 pounds today, do you think you're going to be able to bench 200 pounds in a week or 6 weeks or even 6 months? It might not happen that way, okay? Maybe in a rare case it does, but the usual process is a long one. So that's part of being gentle with yourself. Recognize that progress is slow, but progress can also be constant if you persevere and put yourself on the path to being committed to this change every day. In one of my favorite movies, I think I've referenced this already in another video too, the original Kung Fu movie with David Carradine from 1971, I think it is. In the middle of the movie, they are teaching the young man a karate system. And the narrator of the movie says, it may take half a lifetime to master one system. Now, you have all of that time to master your thoughts. And it should not take that long if you are committed to the process. But the point they are making there is to be gentle with yourself, to be patient, and to not lose your own commitment to your own change. So let's examine what the most often given reason for not doing this is. I'm too busy. Well then, how busy are you? I know, everybody is busy. I'm busy. Everybody is busy. Here I am on Sunday afternoon in the park. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I wanted to do this at noon, but here I am. I was busy. So now it's 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon, and I'm sitting here in the park and making this video. What is your commitment to yourself? Are you busy? Are you too busy to try and improve yourself? Are you too busy to tackle that negative torrent of thoughts that constantly limits your possibilities? You can't tell yourself that. That's your ego lying to you, telling you that you're too busy. To be able to make time for this, 2 or 3 times a day to try to calm down that torrent of thoughts is so helpful. You will find yourself in a much more calm, peaceful state of mind. I'll tell you something right now. I just had on Friday a nurse practitioner come to our home to do a once a year examination. It's part of it's a service offered by the healthcare plan. Thank you, Aetna. So they come and they did my blood pressure. And you know what my blood pressure was? 110/70. Now that's good. It's never been that low before. I think the last time it was done, it was like 120/86, something like that. As a matter of fact, the nurse measured it twice because she wasn't sure if it was right. And I have to credit that aspect of my health to the fact that I have been able to do the work and calm the negative stream of thoughts enough so that I am in a calmer, more peaceful state of mind. And obviously, I'm in a better state of health as a result. So now I'm going to discuss 2 methods that I've come across recently for helping you to slow down that negative torrent of thoughts. The first one is called 4-5-6 breathing. The objective of this breathing exercise is to engage the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, there are, let's call it 2 nervous systems, okay? You have the sympathetic nervous system, which is the one that's usually operating within your body. It is the one that keeps you in that sort of fight or flight response as a result of the fact that you're constantly under stress and constantly being tormented, okay, by that torrent or stream of thoughts in your mind that you can't slow down. So engaging the parasympathetic nervous system will bring you out of the fight or flight response and allow you to slow down. Slow down your body first before you slow down your mind. That's a great idea. So what you do is 4-5-6. It means you breathe in for 4 seconds. Then you hold it for 5 seconds. And then you breathe out for 6 seconds. The breathing out always has to be longer than the intake. Not exactly sure the physiological reason why, but that's the fact. So breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe out for 6 seconds. And do that like 5 times. And if it takes more than 5 times, then do it 10 times. Just do it enough so that you then feel a greater state of calm. You should naturally feel a greater state of calm after you do that 5 to 10 times. And then you will be in a place where you will feel more peaceful. It should slow down the torrent of thoughts. And you should then be able to start creating the space to be able to slow down that torrent of thoughts, create that space, and then be able to exercise control over your thoughts so that you then become the controller of the internal environment instead of having the external environment control you. The second exercise comes from a gentleman, I believe his name is Dr. Doty. He works for Stanford as a neurologist. He was on a podcast that I watched recently, like an hour, 15 minutes long podcast with a woman. I have no idea what her name is, but she was the host and he was the guest. And he described a method for engaging the subconscious mind to plant thoughts for the things you want in your subconscious mind. Penetrating the subconscious mind is the only real way to be able to affect that 95% of the thoughts that you don't even recognize that actually control most of your body. So what he described or prescribed was, first of all, to write it down, whatever it is that you want. Let's just say it's a new job, fully remote, it pays well, doing exactly what you love, okay? That's a great objective to have. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a healing a sickness, whatever it is. Let's just say it's a job, a fully remote job, paying well, doing exactly what you love with a flexible schedule. Fine. That's it. So you have that thought, you write it down. Then you read it to yourself. Then you say it out loud like 5 times. And then you visualize. Sit back and visualize how that would feel. And here is the real key to controlling your internal environment. It's called brain and heart coherence. The thought sends the signal out, and the feeling draws the event back. So the thought is your brain, and the feeling is your heart. So the thought is that wonderful new job that pays well, that's fully remote with a flexible schedule, doing exactly what you love. And what kind of thought are you going to have around that? What kind of feeling are you going to have around that thought? Does that give you a sense of joy, elation? It should. Whatever thought you have, whatever objective you have in mind, should bring on that feeling of ecstasy, that joy, that elation, that gratitude. That's what it should bring about in you. So if the thought sends the signal out and the feeling draws the event back, if you have a good thought about a beautiful new job that you want, and that gives you a feeling of joy, elation, ecstasy, gratitude, then that raises your vibrational frequency. And that begins to then plant the seed in your subconscious mind to help you bring that situation and make it real for yourself. So that's where I'm going to stop today. But as I said, this is going to be a two-part video because there is so much more to this. There are so many other habits that you can form that will help you to slow that incessant stream of thoughts and make you feel as if you are the one in control rather than the external environment controlling you. There are very few things that you can control, but realizing that you can control your own internal environment is a choice you make, and it's a very important choice, and the rewards are immeasurable. And that is what I want everybody to realize. That yes, there are not many things you can control, but you can control what goes on in your own mind if you try. And I would love to have everybody do that and become more peaceful, more prosperous, more happy. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, comment if you wish. This is Don, episode 18 of Practical Reality, part 1 of 2.